The Carolina Beach Inlet is very important because this is the highway to the ocean. This opens up for recreational fishing, commercial fishing, which is very important to this community for safety reasons, with sea rescues for people that are drowning or people that may be in trouble with their boat. This is such an important piece that it affects every part of our economy here in Carolina Beach.
The Carolina Beach Inlet is important to the town in a lot of ways. It's obviously recreational benefits to our citizens and to our visitors. We're very much a tourist town. It also has a tremendous economic impact. The economic impact of the inlet's driven by our charter boat fleet and all the tourists that come along with that to our town. And then lastly, it has an environmental benefit. The inlet itself is a part of our ecosystem in allowing that water from the Cape Fear River to escape into the ocean, which is very important for us. So that's the three main things: economic, recreational, and environmental.
It's very important that we keep the inlet safe and navigable, keep it dredged, properly marked, the channels marked. It's very important because we get so many visitors, so much commercial traffic, the recreational fishermen, the charter fishermen. And what we see is as it changes throughout the summer and throughout the winter, as we get an influx of visitors and recreational boaters, it makes a challenge for us and for everybody else to make sure that we keep that inlet open and safe.
When we leave on Gulf Stream trips, we're leaving in the dark. And sometimes we're coming back in the dark. And having an inlet that's deep enough to navigate in the darkness, that just means everything. And all these commercial guys, they leave at night to go fishing. Come back at night most of the time. Having a deep channel and buoyed correctly means everything.
A gentleman named Sam Blake put the committee together, and they all met with my dad, Carl Winter, and that's when we got organized and formed the committee to raise the money and to get government permission to do the inlet. And this was in 1950. The dredging dredged from the intercoastal waterway to high tide mark. It couldn't dredge on out in the ocean. So then we took 1,250 pounds of dynamite and planted it in the dirt in the beach shore during falling tide and low tide. Then when the tide got up and was falling, which made it lower outside than inside, the dynamite was set off. When all that sand blew in the air, the water started rushing out, and as the sand fell, the water carried it out in the ocean and scoured out the rest of the channel. When the Carolina Beach Inlet was blown, there was very little between Carolina Beach and Ricer Beach. After the inlet was established, the shoreline between Ricer Beach and Carolina Beach has boomed ever since. Carolina Beach Marina area has boomed. Carolina Beach has boomed. Everything in New Hanover County has boomed since Carolina Beach Inlet is established.
I'm Jarvis Wise with the Carolina Beach Inlet Association. I'm the past president and presently serve on the board. I'd like to give you a little timeline on the Carolina Beach Inlet Association and the Carolina Beach Inlet. In 1952, the Carolina Beach Inlet was formed. For years, the federal government funded the dredging of the Carolina Beach Inlet. In 2005, the federal government cut the funds for dredging for the Carolina Beach Inlet. For about 6 years, from 2005 to 2011, the pork barrel funds were used, but was not quite enough to cover the $1 million cost of dredging the inlet. So now we didn't have any funds to fund the dredging of the inlet. In 2012, the Carolina Beach Inlet Association went and joined forces with the county and the state representatives to try to come up with a joint venture plan for the funding of the Carolina Beach Inlet. The Carolina Beach Inlet Association went on to do an impact study in 2014 of the economic impact of this inlet on this town and the county. In 2018, we went back with the help of Dr. Dumas, UNCW Wilmington, and did another impact study on the waterfront values in relationship to the navigability of the Carolina Beach Inlet.
The Carolina Beach Inlet Association is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and our goal is simply to expand and educate the community's awareness of what happens with the Carolina Beach Inlet Association and what we are trying to accomplish as far as keeping the inlet safe and navigable for boaters, recreational, and of course first responders.
So the Carolina Beach Inlet Association has been a partner of the town of Carolina Beach for many, many years. And the Inlet Association is kind of where all the think tank comes together. Those from the community, those from the town, your charter fishermen, your pleasure boaters. It's a place where we share ideas of how to best manage Carolina Beach Inlet. So the Inlet Association is sort of that magnet that pulls everybody together.
Well, the Carolina Beach Inlet Association is ran by 10 members of a board of directors along with other volunteers. In fact, every member of the board of directors is a volunteer. It's a real job. It's a business. And we meet the first Tuesday of every month at 6 o'clock at the Carolina Beach American Legion, and we invite everyone to attend. You don't have to be a member. You can be a guest. You can be curious. Just show up and stick your head in the door. Worst case scenario, you're going to leave with a little bit of information and a full belly, because we'll even feed you if you come out and hang out with us for a little while. We put on 3 events a year in addition to our 12 board member meetings and our 12 membership meetings. The first quarter of the year, we start off with a great chowder cook-off, one fundraiser that we do to raise operational revenue for our nonprofit, as everything is donation based. And then in July we do a Got 'em On King Mackerel tournament. And from that standpoint, we're a part of someone else's event, but it gives us a great opportunity to not only help them out with their event, but to include our association in it as well. And then our final event is at Christmas time, and that's to Captain Mike Britt Shrimperoo. And that's a members only event, but all the other events, everyone is welcome, and they're held in the general public.
The inlet is a great example of the town of Carolina Beach, the active nature, very active. If you've ever been to an Inlet Association meeting, you know what I'm talking about, of the association itself with our federal partners. Coast Guard, Corps of Engineers, but for the relationship that we share and how we're able to work so well together, that inlet would not be open in the way that it has been for many years and will continue to be.
First responders, if they didn't have the inlet, would have to go out through Wrightsville Beach or out through the river. That's going to delay any rescue attempt that we have, and they happen here. And it's quite frequent that we'll see an event happen and we need to be there.
It's very much a life and death situation, not only for the people in the water, but it puts our responders in great risk. And we're working those inlets, we're putting the boat in positions that we don't like to put it in. And unfortunately, we have to make those rescues. So it puts us at risk, it puts the civilians at risk. And for us, having that inlet properly dredged and properly width, it makes a big difference for us.
The inlet reminds us through education just what the extent of the economic impact that inlet delivers to the town. It's staggering. Back when I was on council before as a mayor 5 years ago, I remember the association president, Mike Britt, bringing me a study by Dr. Dumar. And the ratio stands out. A big number for every dollar dredged, something to the tune of 30 to 1, you know, and it hasn't gone down, it stays up there. So that alone, in and of itself, the economic activity that keeping the inlet open maintains for the town benefits all of us.
It's safe as long as they keep that inlet open. We run 12 months a year, so it's used all the time. And if taking all these people fishing, it's not only is it our livelihoods, but all the livelihoods of all the other businesses on the island too.
We also have the idea that if this real estate values were not associated with the importance of this inlet, that would be a very highly contributing factor to the economic value of the real estate.
The boat captains that are there today will go out every year at least 50, sometimes 100, 150 times. So they're using the inlet. Transiting boats are using the inlet. And as mentioned earlier, federal partners like the Coast Guard. The Coast Guard is a beneficiary of a well-maintained inlet for that first response that's so critical.
Back in the early 1900s, when they created the Intercoastal Waterway, made Carolina Beach an island. We weren't an island before that, but it opened the Atlantic to the Cape Fear River. And so we get sediment from upstate, which was settling in our harbors. And when the Carolina Beach Inlet was opened, it allowed a release for that, which, as you can imagine, really cleaned up our bays and waterways quite a bit.
It is vital that our elected leaders at the state level continue to engage with the federal partners, just as we're doing down here at the local and county level, and continue to influence positive outcomes for our inlet.
The Carolina Beach Inlet Association has done a lot. They now have a lot of members, and all these people understand what the inlet does for all of us, for all the recreational people and all the commercial people and the charter boat people. The association, when it first started, it was more of a teaching thing than anything else, because we had to teach all the politicians and everybody that was going to find the money to do the dredging They didn't understand what was making everything tick, and we had to show them all of that, and that has worked very well.
As the fire chief of Carolina Beach Fire Department, our fire department and our community greatly support and back the efforts of the Carolina Beach Inlet Association and everything that they're doing to make that inlet safer for everybody else that navigates those waters.
I encourage everybody to support this nonprofit organization, and we want to thank the town of Carolina Beach, the state of North Carolina, and the county commissioners of New Hanover for their support.
It's vital for not only the inlet, but also for the town, and as I mentioned, our economy. We all work together to make it a better place.